Altrincham back on track with a 2-0 victory over Gloucester City this evening, and we have manager Lee Sinnott with us. Lee, job done tonight, certainly deserved the victory, and nice to see after the disappointment of losing our first game of the season at North Ferriby on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, we had a chat obviously with the players before, Brian, and we asked for a reaction from Saturday. Saturday was disappointing. We spoke about it, but but that's finished with. And I thought the way we started off the game and more or less finished the game in the same vein was key to the success. I thought the work rate and the application was very pleasing, and we didn't really let Gloucester get any kind of foothold in the game, did we? And that was pleasing.
Simon Richmond's put us ahead, and once again he's got another goal inside the 6-yard box. That must be 4, 5, maybe 6 goals he's scored from that sort of range, which is great for a midfielder, and he certainly seems to have the knack of getting in the right place at the right time.
It does, yeah. It's as good as knack, isn't it? It's as good as a knack as the same as a knack, if you want to call it, as firing him in from the edge of the penalty box. That ball could have easily have slid right across, couldn't it, and gone out for a goal kick or whatever. But he found himself in the right place, and that is full credit to Simon. And I mean, obviously the energy that he showed with Carl in the middle of that part was very instrumental for us, taking the game to Gloucester.
Is that something he works on, or you work on with him, or is it just a natural instinct?
Well, obviously, I mean, we work on things in training, crossing procedures and in games, but it's also the recognition that he can see how things are building up to actually get in there, and if it's 3 yards off the line, well, it's still a goal, isn't it, for him? And to arrive at the right place at the right time is key in that factor. And obviously, he recognises that there could be an opportunity where that ball's going to be approaching 4 or 5 yards out, where he could just tap it in. And like you rightly pointed out, he's done that a few times now.
We had 1 or 2 other chances in the first half, but we've had to wait until early in the second half for a second goal. Wonderful technique by Brian Schmeichel to get his first goal for Altrincham. The keeper had obviously punched it, was a little bit out of position, but he still had a lot to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, not saying that we're right behind it, but you could tell what kind of technique that Junior executed, because he doesn't like to be called Brian. That's why we call him. He's widely known as Junior in the dressing room. But the technique that he showed was perfect. It was spot on, hasn't it? I mean, no keeper's going to save that. And I was delighted for him. I thought even if you take the goal out of the equation, I thought his link-up play was very good tonight. And it was pleasing, to see on that right-hand side. I thought he did a very accomplished performance, and obviously, I think that goal and the way he scored that goal as well will give him more confidence.
I think that might be his first start since the opening day of the season, but he was involved early on, neat and tidy early on, did miss a decent chance, but he was involved, and that would have given him a bit of confidence.
Yeah, I've noticed with Junior. I mean, let's not forget that he's only come to this club recently, hasn't he? In recent terms, a week before the start of the season, so it really was very much a catch-up policy with him. But when Junior's on his game, he's very sharp. He'll get turned very quickly forward, and he'll see a forward pass, and that's what I was shouting on to him a little bit in the second half, because he does bring a different dimension when he plays on that right-hand side. And if you look at the 16, 17 players, I mean, you can't start with them all, can you? But if they're all pushing each other, that's only better for us all.
A number of people have been saying Gloucester weren't very good, yet a week ago they were 4 minutes away from beating Brackley, and that would have been no mean achievement. So we've done our job tonight, and all credit to our team.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to have opinions about certain clubs, aren't they? And depending on when they meet certain clubs, because obviously in this division you can get clubs that yo-yo a little bit and will put in a sparkling performance or a accomplished performance and then not have the best of days other days. I mean, we're just of the thinking, Brian, anyway, we just look after our own ship, and whatever's in front of us, whatever's down the changing room. I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks to you a couple of weeks ago in a similar interview, that we can only play against what's in front of us, and I just think that the way we started the game today gave Gloucester no opportunity to get any kind of foothold in it, and that was a vital ingredient.
We have started picking up 1 or 2 injuries recently. Jake Malt not available tonight, and was Damien Reeves also not 100% fit? He didn't look very comfortable when he came off on Saturday.
No. Damien was fit. Jake Malt was carrying a A very, very stiff calf on Sunday from the Saturday game. He said it had improved today and yesterday, but it's one of those where you don't want to take a risk with it. You could prolong the absence. Hopefully, he and Danny will be okay for Saturday, and then we'll be apart from Mike, obviously, which was lovely to see him here tonight. Apart from Mike Williams, we'll be up to a full contingent.
And looking back to the defeat against North Thurby on Saturday, they've done a bit of a job on us. I think we've started the game well and finished the game well, but not really got a grip in between. They looked a decent side, but actually only really had 2 chances.
Well organised. I thought it was an enthralling game, but as a spectacle as a game of football, I don't think you can actually say it was one of the classics. So it fell down on North Thurby's side. I think if you look at those kind of games, I played in quite a few of them. If you played that game 10 times, it would probably be 3 wins apiece and 4 draw. It was just that kind of game. You're saying that the 2 chances that came rather out of nothing were very well executed. But we dust ourselves down, we wipe ourselves off. We've seen that this evening. We've had a great reaction from the squad and the players, and we go into that FA Cup break now just nestled in behind the front 2. I'd have took that at the beginning of the season. Of course, I always want more before certain supporters start saying, "Hey up," do you know what I mean? We shouldn't have. We should have secured the points against Histon and Oxford. All right, but it's very early on in the season. And if you look at it compared to last 2 seasons, I mean, when we went into the FA Cup break, which everybody does in the Conference North because they're all in the second qualifying, aren't they? We probably find ourselves maybe 9 or 10 points behind the leaders at this stage of the season. So now we're nestled in just behind. So, we'll take that, but obviously we're always looking to improve. That goes without saying. Excuse me.
Trafford, local derby. It's a good draw for both sides in many ways, but we know all about them, although it's only pre-season games that we've played them in. And they've had a bit of a funny start to the season, 1-2 out the first 3, then went on a big run of defeats, but an excellent win against Rushall Olympic on Saturday. No doubt they're going to be very, very tough opposition on Saturday.
Well, it's the FA Cup. The FA Cup is a great leveler, and it's a great raiser as well, isn't it? Obviously, we played them a couple of times in pre-season, but we've had them watched twice, Brian. But I will turn my attention now to Trafford because I've obviously had 2 other games to deal with before that, and you can only deal with the next game that's in front of you. Now, the next game is Trafford. We go into the FA Cup, obviously looking to have a positive run like we did last season. But I can guarantee you now, just like. The teams, I think it was Shildon we met in the second qualifying round when we first came into the FA Cup last season, and Whitton the year before that when we went out. In my mind, they showed the fullest of respect because the FA Cup is a great leveller. So we will show, we will show them respect in the way we prepare for them, and then obviously hope to be progressive on Saturday. But the message will be exactly the same to the players before the game as it was before every game last season, and it's get the job done. Just put yourself in the hat.
And finally, Lee, you mentioned Mike Williams here tonight. Great to see him back at the ground after his injury at Leamington. And obviously, a replacement for him must be very high on your priority list. Is it a matter of being patient and waiting for the right player to come along?
It is, yeah. When Mike got injured, unfortunately, he's brought us a bit of luck, hasn't he, since he's come back as well, because although he couldn't participate today, we've got a clean sheet. When Mike incurred his injury, I had no doubt in my mind that Scott Leather would start. He would come into the fray. And like we mentioned before, Brian, it's something that we're monitoring. It's something that is behind the scenes. But let's face it, we're not a club where we carry two players for each position. So we will monitor that. If somebody comes available, then that it's too good to miss, then we'll have a look at it then. But we are obviously aware of where we stand, and we're prepared for that. But as it stands at the moment, we have a couple of players who can step in there maybe for a game, and that's the way we'll approach things. Like I said, unless something comes that's too good to pass up.
That's Lee Sinnott there, satisfied with Altrincham's start to the season, 3rd in the league, 2 points behind leaders Hensford Town, and Brackley were just a point behind them. 2-0 tonight against Gloucester City. We now move on to the FA Cup and a big game at Shoreview against Trafford FC on Saturday.